Mr. Prime Minister, could you please brief us about your upcoming visit to the States?
I think this visit will be one visit since 1971, which means 14 years ago, Prime Minister went to the United States from Turkey. But in one sense, I may be the first elected Prime Minister going to the United States. Basically, three areas we would be interested. One area is economic relation between United States and Turkey. My program, as you have probably seen it, I will spend some time in New York, and then Chicago. Then I will come to Washington for official visit. In New York, especially, and also in Chicago, I will contact with the business groups, financial circles, banks, because I am most in favor trade relations, helping Turkey opening up United States market, and also bringing foreign capital, US capital, joint ventures in Turkey. And this is a basic help for an ally in NATO. Certainly we are getting some direct help from United States, but this is generally limited, and we have more of the problems along these years.
You have had a lot of dispute about the amount of direct military aid that you get from Washington, and recently there has been further cuts in this aid. Will you be taking this matter up with President Reagan?
I think generally military aid will be taking up, I am sure, with Mr. President Reagan and Schultz and also Weinberger. Turkey is the strongest, having strongest army in NATO, in Europe, basically. And we have a 50 million population. We have borders, only NATO country borders with Russia, Soviet Russia. And we are also somewhat protecting the Middle East, a wall, I should say. But today, when you look at our neighbors, even Syria, have probably more sophisticated weapons than Turkey. Turkish armament is basically Korean war area, all dated equipment. And in my opinion, if Turkish army strength is increased, it will be less costly for United States and for NATO, much less costly.
In the economic area, could you tell us about the problems that exist in trade between United States and Turkey? Recently there has been a new tax impositions on Turkish textile exports, for example.
It is coming from the the argument is dumping. It is not dumping, and we have reached finally an agreement with the United States. We have been involved with GATT agreements, but there are still some problems. According to certain articles of the law in the United States or regulation, for example, if you increase your export above certain percentage, but this percentage does not have any meaning. Let's assume that we have exported certain articles, $50,000 in a year, nothing. But next year, if we increased this to $150,000, which means 300%, and then some alarm is signaled, and then they call you why you increased 300 times. But the amount is nothing. A country like Turkey, when it's entering a market as huge as United States market, certainly in the first years, the increase will be much higher. It's a normal application. And you should consider this later on the years, when we have figures like 100 million or 200 million or 500 million dollars. Because what we found out, buyers of United States, when they come to Turkey, they will not ask for dozen, they will ask for millions, and the amount naturally will increase much more higher. In my opinion, if we are an ally, if we have good ties, then we should strengthen them through the economic cooperation. Trade is essential. Today, we import more from United States, we export less. There is an imbalance. We should export more like the other countries.
You have taken some very strong economic measures since you came to power, and you have gone out of your way to eliminate bureaucratic hurdles to stimulate foreign capital coming to Turkey. As far as foreign investment goes, are you satisfied with the investments coming from the United States, and what really is your goal in that respect?
Let me tell you, I mean, our program is basically, when we started early in 1980, 24th of January, not as a politician, but as a technician at that time. The program is designed by myself, which is now we are following much more vigorously as a new party. This program, before Mr. Reagan came to power in the United States, is a similar, basically similar program of President Reagan, quite similar. And we got result before they got result. Basically what the philosophy behind this, we would like to have a minimum intervention by the government. We would like to get our people ability to perform. And Turkish people perform miracles. And I am sure with this program we have been taking up Turkey from the from the bankrupt situation at the end of 1970s, the today's performance, which is seen by the outsiders as a very good performance. And therefore, I say, Turkey has managed to have a very good economic program, free market economy, free market program. But in addition to that, we have made reform on our political system. Now, that is the reason I say, if we are going to get support from the United States, this support should be basically through their private industry, private sector area, which we can combine. Now, your question, whether we have been getting enough, certainly we have not put ourselves that we will depend upon completely outside support. We are doing by ourselves in this country much more. The outside help will be as an additional item. Today there are quite a few number of banks, most of them from the United States. It has been in the last 4 years. The banks will be followed by the industrial companies. There is a very good interest to Turkey. And I am sure Turkey is an interesting place to make investment and also to sell, not in 50 million market, but also all nearby markets. Therefore, I am quite hopeful that U.S. capital, U.S. banks will continue to come to Turkey, but this is not the main item of our development program.
Well, what is the main item then?
Main item is the efforts of our people.
Going back to the subject of your visit, you mentioned that there were 3 areas I think you have mentioned defense and economic relations. What is the third area of your...
I think the third area, this is an occasion which we should know. We should explain ourselves. We should make a good contact to the people of United States through the media, newspapers, magazines, and TV. And my program, one big portion of my program is related to that type of meetings. I am going to meet major newspapers in their offices even, and we will have some TV programs, and we will have some famous magazines interviews. I think all of those will make Turkey better known by the people of the United States. This is a necessary element.
Especially as far as the media coverage goes, I'm sure that you will be raising the question of Armenian terrorism or international terrorism, so to speak. Do you have any disputes with the American government on the subject like you have with some other Western governments?
I think for the question of Armenian, we don't have much different opinion with the United States or difficulties with the U.S. government. The most difficulty is coming some elements of the Senate or Congress. And I say one thing. This is a subject which was happened to some 70 years ago. At the time of not Turkish Republic was established, it was during Ottoman. And I can tell you it was not genocide. This is very clear. Because Armenians in Turkey, in the western part of Turkey, were not taken away from Turkey to the Syrian area. They were kept as it is. Only the Armenians were the behind of the war line with Soviets, Russia at that time, were taken away from the war, behind the war scene. And this is the thing. But people or circles which wants Turkey to be divided, or Turkey got into trouble, using terrorism as a cause, Asala or other type of terrorist organization will get support such kind of move by the Congress. And therefore I say that this will affect our relation at the same time. And in my opinion, though all those terrorism is interrelated to communist subversive activities. We know it very clearly. All these terrorism of Armenians, which I don't want to call Armenians, I just want to call terrorist activities of Asala, is related the other type of terrorist activities which is related to more undermining the governments in many areas. What they do in Salvador, what they do in other areas, they are all interrelated.
Another subject, will you be discussing with President Reagan the ongoing dispute with your neighbor Greece? Do you think that Washington can exert pressure on Greece to have a peaceful settlement of this ongoing problem?
You see, my policy, I personally said many times to our foreign office people, why everybody remembers us when they say Greece, when they also say Turkey, or when they say Turkey, then they remember Greece. This is wrong. Turkey is a country much more powerful, more than 50 million population, compared to 10 million population of Greece. Is a small country. Why our foreign policy is somewhat under pressure of such a little thing. And therefore I always thought we shouldn't bring this subject always to the our foreign relation. we should look much more bigger future, much more better foreign relations. We should look other part of the world. I mean, the world is not only Greece or Bulgaria. There are many countries in the world, and Turkey is opening up. And myself, I say, Papandreou is making good things for us. And everybody knows what he does. And I don't want to add anything what he does. And therefore I am not going to talk too much about it.
You mentioned Bulgaria. Recently there has been increasing reports in the press about claimed oppression of the Turkish minority there. Will you also bring the subject up with President Reagan?
I think if it is asked, I will bring the subject and I will explain what we are thinking about it. I said same thing. I mentioned this problem to Soviets. If I said that this is not a small problem, it may become an important problem, and if you have any influence on them, please help us, because we want a dialogue. We don't want to create problems. And what I see, this problem is bound to grow. Unless we should sit down with Bulgars and make at least some satisfaction of those people. And there is a real problem right in there. Because all those news, whether they let the newspapermen or TVs to the area, but there is a saying in Turkish, I believe the same thing in every language. Something is burning and the smoke is coming. Then something has to be burning right there.
One last question, Mr. Prime Minister. There has been press reports during the last couple of days that on defense areas you will be making new proposals to United States to increase their listening facilities against the Soviet Union. Are these reports correct?
No, that's not correct. I mean, we have not studied the case. Whether they will ask it, I don't know. But as far as I know, we have no preparation on that. We have no proposal on that. Our main proposal will be to make a stronger armed forces in Turkey. If there is a stronger armed forces in Turkey, this benefit goes all NATO and United States. That's very clear.
Thank you very much,
Thank
Mr.
you.
Prime Minister.
Her şeyi kabul ettik.
Evet.